Hi everybody, welcome back to these series of videos on Visual Basic 6. We're going to be looking at the simplest form of loops, or iteration as it's known, as its logical structure. We're going to be looking at for next loops. Now I've set up a form, I've created a label which I've called LBL display, and I've created a command button which I've called CMD run, and I've just put a simple message on. As you can probably guess from the message, all we're going to do is run the program, click the button, and it will display the numbers 1 to 10. Okay? Now, of course, this is a simple startup video and has no real purpose other than to demonstrate how loops work. Okay? Right, okay, so behind the command run button, we're going to write some simple code. And the first thing I'm going to do is declare a variable. Now, I've called it x. And that's going to be the control within my loop. I could quite easily call that Bob if I wanted, or Fred, or Y, or Z, but X is just seems to be a generic variable name that's cropped up a lot with loops. Okay. Now there are different kinds of loops. The one we're going to look at to start off with is the for next loop. Okay. Now the thing about for next loop is that all the actual constraints of the loop are set by you at the start of the loop. I'll explain that as I write the code. So it's a for next loop. So for, and the variable that we're using, well, we're using x. So for x equals, now with this loop we know the start point and we know the end point. Okay. Now we're going to count to 10 and we're going to write x to the screen, and x will change every time we run through the loop. So for x equals 1 to start off with. Where do we want it to go to? Well, we want it to go to 10. And in what steps? Well, we want it to step up in ones. Okay. Next x ends the loop. So whatever I write in this area here, between the for and the next, is within the scope of the loop. So will be affected by the loop. X has been declared as an integer. So x will start off at 1. So for is the command. X is the variable we're using. Just to reiterate how this works, if I call that Bob, I would have to change that to Bob, and I'll have to change that to next Bob. So the name X is not part of the actual command, it's a variable name we've give it to work within the loop. Okay? So don't be confused and don't write next x, it's not, it's just next whatever. X being what we're using to control the loop. It's equal to, well, this is its start position, so its start position is 1. But we want to go to 10. I want to go in steps of ones. Okay? And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to write that label x. Now, I've purposely made a mistake here just to show you what happened. Well, I've not made a mistake, but I'll run the program to show you what happens. Okay, it only writes 10. Now I know that x starts at 1. Label display.caption equals 1, so it will write 1. Next x, it jumps back. X is now 2 because I've stepped up in ones. Label display.caption equals x, which is 2, so it'll write 1, 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and so on. But if we go back to the program, you'll see that it doesn't, it just writes 10. It's because basically it's overwriting itself. Okay? Now, to prevent that happening, what we need to do is we need to make label display.caption equal to itself and then add the x on the end. So I'm just going to copy ampersand and x. So basically what that does is it says label display.caption is equal to itself and x. Now there's nothing there at the start of it, so it makes itself equal to nothing plus the x. So it's now equal to 1. So label display.caption the next time round will be equal to 1 and itself and x, and x is now 2. So then we've got 1, 2, and then 1, 3, and then 1, 4, and so on. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. So if I run the program this time, it'll write all the numbers from 1 to 10 to the screen. Okay? And we can step down. Now we don't use a step down command like or a down to command like you do in some programming languages. All we do is we change the start point and the end point. So we want to start at 10. We want to go to 1. And this time we're going to step down by -1. So if I run the program, we zip down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay? So just have a little play around with that, have a look at that, and we'll look at more interesting ways of using loops in the next few videos. Okay? Thank you.